Wealth leaders. Angel here with Mastiff Home Buyers and Lead with Abundance Coaching, as well as our community of intuitive wealth leaders, which means we bring internal and external wealth together to grow. So today, I don't always know what I'm going to talk about. These live sessions are really intended to be here to be helpful, to be motivating, to help build the community, to give folks, maybe just happens to be something that somebody needed to hear. So, as you can see, I changed the scenery a little bit today, and I'm outside with the dogs. Normally, I'm inside, but we're in the middle of moving, so things are kind of a mess, and it wasn't too hot out here after the storm. So hopefully, I hope that everybody made it through without storm damage. But let's just jump in here. Um, so I have learned a lot about wealth in the last 7 years. So in my younger days, I really didn't understand wealth and I didn't understand wealth building. And I will tell you, I am still learning. I am learning every day more and more about that. And, but what I didn't know was, really how to go about that. And so I did. Everybody kind of starts maybe their wealth building journey with Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So if you haven't read that book, you probably should. You should probably grab it, listen to it on audiobook or get the book or do both. It is a great book, and it really does start the process of changing your thinking where you go, oh, wow, I really never knew that. I never really thought about it from that perspective because, as we only know what's inputted into us. It's our knowledge is based on, what we gather and put into us from our family, our education, our jobs, our environment, whatever. That's all of our inputs. So, Rich Dad Poor Dad really took me in a different place and made me look at things from a different perspective, from a perspective that I didn't know before, which is really great. And we really should do that for more than just wealth building. Take a minute to look at things, a challenge, an issue, an action from a different perspective, and you will see it differently, or you should. Excuse me. So, and I don't have my water out here today. I forgot that. But so one of Robert Kiyosaki's other books that he wrote was called The Cash Flow Quadrant. And it really breaks it down into, really ultimately wealth building, and the four quadrants spell out where you are in your wealth building journey. So, uh, and it clarifies things. It clarifies a lot, and so your E quadrant is you're an employee. You have a job. You go to work. You make some money. You come home. Hopefully, you have some benefits with that job, and they pay for some health insurance, and maybe they pay for a 401k or IRA or something that you're able to contribute to for retirement. So I had that. Working in the corporate world, I had that, and I grew, and that increased in my ability to actually save and build my IRA, and was enhanced significantly as my income increased. But all of that was dependent on what? It was dependent on a corporation offering me a salary for the job that I was doing. And so for some people, that salary that they get or that wage job is barely enough to make ends meet. So they are really not able to invest or save money because it's really hard when, your everyday expenses are extremely high like they are today. So, um, self-employed. So, self-employed is not the same as a business owner. So, I'm going to get into this. So, self-employed is the other quadrant. Another quadrant is where we sort of create our own job for our own self. So, freelancers, people who offer coaching services, can be a self employed. So, I may offer a contract for coaching, and somebody pays me for coaching them. And that is trading, my time and a service for money. And that makes me ultimately self employed if that's what I do. So lots of people, contractors, therapists, they're entrepreneurs and they're self employed. So they don't work for somebody else, they work for themselves. But they have to depend on doing something, making some action in order to get paid. So if I don't have anybody to coach, I don't get paid. That's really self-employed. So the next is a business owner. A business owner looks to grow a business and have systems that other people can execute in order to achieve your goals. So those people who I worked for as a corporation, that corporation grew over time, started with, a small pot of money, and actually a larger corporation created them and invested that money into them and hired a CEO, and they hit the ground running and grew and grew and grew. So the team grew from just the CEO doing everything by himself to hiring on other people who could do other things and that could help carry the load and ultimately grow the business and sell more contracts and increase the business revenue. So those that is what a business owner does, is creates those systems and processes to grow the business. And so why is that different than the solopreneur or the self-employed? It's because when you build a business, your business continues even if you're not there. So a solopreneur or a self-employed person, if you don't take those actions, you don't get paid and you don't really have a business. So if you get hurt, your income stops. And so a business, that CEO, as he grew the business and hired on more people, he could be gone. He could be sick. He could go on vacation. Uh, he didn't have to be there all the time because the systems and processes were in place and other people were there to execute them. So the last quadrant is the investor. So the investor wants to ultimately take money and have money work for them. So that corporation that invested in the small business to grow, that's what an investment is. So they took money, they plugged it into that company and said, here's, this is simplifying it, obviously, but here's money for growth. And we're going to pay you to provide these services to us. And we then want you to go and grow this business and get some additional contracts so that, we can make money from investing our money. Now, what I learned, like within the last 7 years, I believe, is that we can do that too. Us individuals, I always thought that that was only something that a corporation could do, and that I couldn't be a corporation. I couldn't build a corporation because I'm just a person, and so the uh, the what I've learned is that anybody can do this. And it's really a choice whether you want to be a self-employed or you want to have a business. And both is okay. If you want to just make enough money to survive and that's how you want to live, that's perfectly fine. You should do that. You shouldn't be forced into building a business if that's not what you want. But it is something that you need to get clear about. Clearly understand which path you're on, whether you're looking to grow a business that ultimately would be sold or inherited, or down the road it would maybe be merged in with a larger company. Those are things that you really do have to think about now. And what is it that you want in the way off future? Because if it's just helping you be keep the lights on and make ends meet and now, and that's fine with you, then stay a self-employed person. And then the day that you decide that you're going to retire, you don't have to do anything anymore. You can close down the business, and I see people do that a lot. They have a successful restaurant and they say, "Hey, it's time for us to retire," and they close it down. Maybe they have a construction company of some sort and they're ready to retire, so they close it down. But we know that's not what happened with Walmart, for example. Walmart grew and grew and grew, and it grew as a business, and work was delegated to others. And then when Sam Walton got to the point that he was no longer going to run the business, there was a plan to take the business and put it in someone else's hands. And I honestly don't know what his role is, but a lot of times, the business founder or person who founds the business is a person that sits in the seat on a board of the corporation and serves as an advisor for people. So you can set your business up like that too. My goal for Mastiff Home Buyers really is for me to be that person, that president of the board who just advises and really lets everyone else carry out the day-to-day work. Um, so that's my goal for my business. And so figure out what your goal is for your business, whether you're going to continue to be just a self-employed person creating income for yourself, or whether you are going to grow a business so that ultimately you can use it as an investment and it can help you make money. So, what also happened with that corporation was that uh, the original investor sold off part of their shares to others so that they could make money off of those shares. Uh, so that's a way that you can make the money work for you, is you invest it initially, grow and make a viable business, and then you can sell those shares off because they're going to be worth more than they were when you started from nothing. Uh, so I hope that you will dive into this for yourself and your business. Read the cash flow quadrant. It is very enlightening. Even if you don't read the whole book, just look at the quadrant. Just pull it up, just Google it, cash flow quadrant. It'll come up. and take a look at it and think about it and think about where you're at. And then ask yourself, is this where you want to be? Because if it is where you want to be, that's great. If it's not where you want to be, then it's time to make a change. So I am going to jump off and go back to my Saturday. You all have a wonderful weekend and a great 4th of July. Stay safe and be happy.